Okay, guys, welcome to this webinar for the Game Changing Impact Program. Thank you all for, again, committing your time to the coaching program. We've been working quite hard behind the scenes to get everything up and ready, as you all probably started to get inundated with emails introducing to your students and stuff. The aim of today's webinar session is very much to do a couple of things. We want to introduce the InnoEnergy Career Centre with Marlush and Iris, and I'll be bringing them on very, very shortly. They're going to give you a little bit more insight into and background on the Career Centre and the whole setup there at InnoEnergy. Alongside with this, I want to be able to bring you guys up to date and up to speed with what we've been doing in the backgrounds, getting the student consultations on boards into place, how the coaching program is going to be starting from March. And then the base of this session is then for any questions you may have that you want to ask, which I can then take on and answer. What will happen at the end of this session is the team will push back with look at all the questions, everything that was answered, and we'll create an FAQ and put that back to yourselves as well. There'll be a recording of this webinar available, so you can either go back and watch it again, or if you are not watching this live, you can welcome and you can watch this. You're watching this now, so you can pick up from there. And again, if you're watching this after the session's actually taken place and you've got a question, you can come back directly to myself and I'll answer that for you. So it's good to see so many people on. We're going to start off with an introduction to the Career Centre. I'd like to just bring up a presentation from InnoEnergy and in particular the Career Centre there. I'm just going to have to share screens with you guys just to make sure it all works correctly. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay. Just to confirm, you all can see my screen. Just give me some nods. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to introduce Marlush from the Career Centre. She will sort of take over for the next 10-15 minutes, however long it takes through. Marlush, over to you.
Thank you, Ketten. Hi, my name is Marlush Wichenkruid. I'm based in the Netherlands, working for InnoEnergy. And I would like to use this webinar, this moment, to introduce myself, the Career Centre, InnoEnergy, and also to give you a hearty welcome to the Career Centre and to our team. And I hope that we will have a great kickoff in the coming months with the start of the career coaching. We have been working such a long time to develop this program, and I'm really looking forward to see if things turn out the way we have planned and think they would work. But of course, we may face all kind of things we did not think of. So in that sense, I would like to encourage you to come up with any questions or concerns you might have to either Ketten or to me, but I would say first to Ketten, as Ketten is running the whole show for us. So the Career Centre is actually the initiator of the initiative. We have been looking for a partner who is able to help us with bring on some selection criteria to help us with the application process when we talk about social skills. And we thought that it would be good to have a partner who also could help us on the development of these skills during the program, and bring also during the program and maybe after their graduation in contact with interesting industry, which makes it easier for our students to find jobs or career opportunities. So today I would like to give you a very short introduction to InnoEnergy and the Career Centre, but I would like to emphasize that I think it's very important that before you're going to start to talk with our students, that you know the main things about what InnoEnergy is doing, what the master school is about. And so I would really like to ask you to go to our website and check, well, the main lines of our company, so that you will not be in a situation not knowing the basics of our master school. And I know among our coaches a very different group of people. Some of you are so well connected already to the master school, already in part of teaching already. Well, some of you are our alumni with a lot of working experience or interesting working experience, which could be really helpful for our future students. But some of you are from a career coaching background, not affiliated to InnoEnergy at all until now. So that's I would really like to ask you to make sure that you know a bit of the basics before going into one of the coaching sessions. So please, Katin, can you show me the next slide? I actually forgot to ask, but
no problem.
And I see I used in the previous slide a former presentation with a wrong date, so apologies for that. But InnoEnergy, for you, I think it's important to know that we are not only about education, but we also have in total 3 business lines. One of the business lines is education, but the other business lines are business creation and innovation projects. To give a very short summary, within business creation, we support startups in sustainable energy. So we help them to grow and to find their first customers. We have a huge network which can bring their first steps into growing into a real company. And InnoEnergy is not only supporting, but we also become a shareholder in our startups. We have business creation managers, which are really matched to our startups. And one of the business creation managers, I think, is there today as well. But we also have among our coaches one of the business creation managers. So also, if you would like to know a bit more about that, it might be good if you look into the other coaches, see who's there, and Katin might play a role in that as well. If you think, hey, I have a student interested in starting their own company, well, we might have some more information inside our own group of coaches. So let's see how we can work together in that. Then the third business line is innovation projects. We run big innovation projects where we will also support not only in finance, but also using our network in order to bring new innovative products on the market. This is a really, really short summary. If you would like to know more, please have a look at the website or ask me in the future. Yes, next slide, please. Thank you. So to focus a bit on InnoEnergy education, we run this whole Game Changing Impact program mainly for our master school students, but we also will enter a couple of our PhD school candidates who will run the same program as the master school students in a different level of their PhD program. So the master programs, we have 7 master programs, 7 different programs, mainly students with a background in engineering. Well, you might all know this already, but we work together. So we are not a university ourselves, that's really important, but students apply directly at our master school application office. So we do the selection. But we run the programs together with 12 universities, top universities in Europe, mainly engineering technical background universities, although we have also accepted a bit broader bachelor's profile last year. So it's not only purely engineering, so we look a bit broader. How we want to differentiate from the general technical programs that we say we offer, next to the technical subjects and courses, also a lot of practices on entrepreneurial and innovation programs. So each program, each master program, each of the 7 master program run their own 2 years program. The same for all programs is that they have to go to university in country A in the first year and always go to another country in the second year. So they always go to 2 universities. In their first year, they in the beginning they do not know yet where they go in the second year, but they have influence on that. Although it's a matter of where if there's enough place, etc. But usually they can choose where to go, and then based upon places and availability, they will get the place for the second year. Then, for example, the Energy of Smart Cities Master Program run an innovation journey, also together with industry, and learning them how to create innovative concepts. The master program in renewable energies, they have added to their program the summer school of entrepreneurship. So they go to a business school in Barcelona each summer. Then we have the NTech program, who is adding to their program the Open Space Studio, which is also about learning to know yourself, working together, co-creation. How do you go into innovative concepts? So at the start of the Inno Energy Master School, all programs are asked to create something which does not exist, which delivers more to the innovation landscape of Europe. So this is, well, I cannot say that there's one kind of plan. It's also quite complicated organization structure with all master programs having groups of 3 or 4 universities who is working together to create one program, and also have this we call it the Kick Added Value program next to the technical engineering programs we offer. So this doesn't make it easy to understand very quickly, but it's for you. I think it's good to know the basics. I always say to people who enter Inno Energy education, well, it takes you at least half a year before you understand really how the organization works, because we have built, starting in 2010, creating different master programs with so many universities, not being a university ourselves. So it's really a cooperation together with a lot of institutes. But this makes it really interesting, I think. So we also give a lot of scholarships to our students, but we tend to give less scholarships every year, because right now we need to go into a period where we need to also have where we need to recruit paying students. So that's also why we're looking for a way to distinguish the Inno Energy Master School from general universities. And I think that the Game Changing Impact Program, delivering career coaching, delivering more than only the general career services to the students, but really prepare them for their labor market, can really benefit to them. And I hope this will be one of the reasons in the future that students will say, okay, this could be a reason why I pick, or why I would go to Inno Energy Master School, or PhD school, of course. So for master school, students really sign up, and it's they are in a classroom with all of their peers. PhD school works a bit different. Then it's a very individual application. Doesn't matter from which university they are, but they must have already a PhD subject in sustainable energy, and then on top of that they can apply for the PhD school, which bring them also extra courses, extra education. And from the Career Center we also will offer them the Game Changing Impact Program for just a selected group of PhD students. So the master school students will, all of them will get it. They are somehow being told that this is like part of the program. It's not like a choice, although we do not give any credits for it. So it's still voluntary. We officially can't do anything if they step out. So, but until now, I could say that we are really happy that Catherine has done a great job doing all the intakes with the students. And I think out of the 258 students we have for the new intake, only 3 we still are missing, or there's something going on with these students, which we try to find out why they did not do it. But in general, almost everyone took the first consultation with Ketten and has been matched to one of the coaches, which is great. So I think it's a great start. We have communicated a lot to the students. We use the Master School Kickoff event also to present the whole program, so the students are aware of it. We have seen also during the Master School Kickoff where everyone comes together in one place, so it's really an offline event. People are curious also about it. They came to us with a lot of questions. They were curious about their profile. So I think it's a great start, and so I'm looking forward to jump into it. Then to finish with the InnoEnergy education for you, it's also good to know that we offer online courses. So it's also, it can be found on the website, very easy overview and direct links to all the online courses we offer. And we also have executive education, a very small part of our education is going into that direction. So this is, I think, for now it's enough. Then next slide, please. Yes, then the Career Center. So the Career Center is part of the InnoEnergy education business line. But one of our goals is to connect our students as well with our startups, so, and our innovation projects. What InnoEnergy really wants is that the business lines are interconnected. So we are working on the future human capital, which also in the end, we hope that they will work for our startups, but also maybe in the future will start their own company and will enter also the highway, which is the program for the startups. So we continually try to interconnect the business lines. The Game Changing Impact Program is one of the offerings of the Career Center, but we also offer students. So here are the 6 points which you all know of, and I think Catherine will maybe go into that a bit deeper at the Game Changing Impact Program. But we also offer other career services. And I think when you run into a discussion as being a career coach with a student, and for example, you used the career coaching really to find out what is the interest, what are the strengths, what are the questions, what do the students want in the future career. So they are finished and ready to start looking for their right career opportunity when they're finished with their programs. So we hope that they will, because of that, find a job sooner, and also a better job which fits to their interest, that as a result of the Game Changing Impact Program. But I can assume that you also will ask, will receive questions from the students like, okay, now I know what I want. Now I know which companies are interested for me, how to get there. So we also have services like the CV checks, job interview training. We offer webinars about how to find jobs around the globe, how to find jobs specifically for the energy industry. We run also a job board, and that's why I also really would like to introduce Iris, who is also working for the Career Center, and she's also here in this webinar. Iris Guits is working for the Career Center as the Career Center coordinator. Her main task is to communicate with the students and also run all the things around the Game Changing Impact Program to make sure the students are aware of it, they receive the information about it, but she also is managing the Career Center job board, among other things. And on the job boards, we publish as many career opportunities for our students, being jobs, entry-level jobs, internships, thesis placements, voluntary work, and also experience work for our alumni. And this can be found on the community platform, which we have developed a year ago for all our students, alumni, plus also the whole network around InnoEnergy. Until now, it's mainly students and alumni who can be found over there. And the job board is only available for our own students and alumni, so not for external people. But we help our network, the related companies who we work with, to create an account on it, and so they can publish vacancies over there themselves. And Iris is helping the companies to do so, and to create accounts, etc., and to place the jobs over there. So if you're working for a company or you know companies in the energy field, please also think about this, that if you know about job opportunities and you have direct relationships with those people, please refer them to Iris, because we are looking for more opportunities to share among our students and alumni in the coming years. And then which I cannot see, but it's the final point of this slide, is that we also look, it's below the screen, I think. It says, it doesn't matter, I can also mention.
It's talent partners.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So we look for talent partners as a new initiative, talent partners who would like, that are companies, employers, future employers who are looking for fresh new talent and are interested in our InnoEnergy students, graduates, or alumni, and would like to get better connected and to bring on them to our students. So we created a package with our paid packages, but this is something we would like to be able to sell to employers in the future. So if you know any of these kind of companies who are interested in becoming a talent partner, please let me know, then I can inform you and send you the information about it. So that's it from my side. If there are any questions, or Iris, if you would like to add something to it, or Ketten, say, Marloes, you forget about something important, let me know.
No, thank you. There are a couple of questions that have come back while you were talking. I'm just going through the other parts of the slides, which just re-emphasizes what Marloes was just talking about right now about internships and then the talent partner packages. But while we're going through that, first question that came in from Saul, could you just give a little bit of explanation on what MOOCs and spooks are?
Yes, sorry. So MOOCs are massive online open courses, abbreviation. So their online courses can be delivered in all kinds of formats. They're mainly for free to join. And for example, we now run a MOOC about blockchain technology, and it's being created by one of our alumni in cooperation with all kinds of blockchain experts. And you can go to our online platform. We work together with, for example, a big online education supplier, which is FutureLearn, and our online courses can be found over there. So this is really, the MOOCs are for free, for it's just to show our knowledge, the community, which is of course consisting of so many people with so many knowledge, and we are just sharing this. Then SPOCs are, now I forgot about, because I use only these abbreviations, I forgot where it's standing for. These are mainly the paid courses that you can get a certificate for, and it's the same kind of things. Also subjects related to sustainable energy. So, and then you can do it next to, for example, next to your job, or we offer it to as an in-company training, for example, to companies who are interested in retraining their people. For example, big companies saying, so we do a lot of things with innovation, but our people do not know enough about blockchain in this case. So we offer this course to our people in order to make sure that they have knowledge about it.
So Chirayu's just contributed. So Spook is small private online course. That's what that abbreviation is. Chirayu also has a question for you on this very subject. What does he need to do if he wanted to create a MOOC for InnoEnergy?
So we have a whole team around creating MOOCs. So it's our online professional learning team. And then just send me an email. I will connect you to them.
Okay, Troy, there you go. Helen had a question also. Does the program offer master's and PhD programs outside energy sectors, or is this just for energy?
Only energy.
Only energy. There you go, Helen. It's only energy. So, so are there any other questions any of you have? You can feel free to unmute and address these to Marlush. Otherwise, I'll give you a quick summary of some of the key points there. Any questions out there? Okay.
Well, please feel free always to call or to connect to me or by Skype or whatsoever. So.
Yes, we'll be putting contact information for the Career Centre into the FAQ that will be coming out anyway. So there will be an introduction to Career Centre Marlush, and as I say, there will be an overview of this this presentation in there. But really understand that there are those three kind of channels in particular where we're coming from. We are here primarily to help develop the students to identify where they want to go in their future careers. It's something that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about now when we move into the whole process that I've been undertaking. We're here to also help them understand and identify where their strengths are so they can go out and make that greatest contribution and that greatest impact as it goes along. But more importantly, there are so many services around. So, as much as we are here to do career coaching, there are webinars, there are classes, there are resource centers, there is the job boards. Everything's available within the Career Center network. So it's very much it's going to be very valuable for us to orientate you around a little bit around the Career Center, so that if there is an opportunity that you're signposting these students back to relevant parts of the Career Center rather than just sort of recreating new opportunities. The other side of this is, as I mentioned this in Barcelona during the kickoff, which obviously you coaches weren't at, but essentially I was talking about the network. The most important thing about networks is that we need to continue building those. So if you are connected to businesses within the industry, if you're connected to people within the human resource environment, within the industry itself, bring them forward, introduce them to what you're doing with the energy program, introduce them to Marlush, etc. Because that could mean the difference between an opportunity missed and an opportunity taken. The program itself is looking for talent partners to come on board and support its sustainability into the future, plus more and more connectivity and opportunity with getting the right people into the right jobs as well, as the sector starts to turn a corner. So I wanted to just take this opportunity to thank Marlush for all that information. Thank you very much for bringing all of that in. I'll restructure this into a small sort of write-up, which we'll send out to all the coaches as well. So if there's any links or stuff that you'd want me to put in there, Marlush, just send those to me afterwards, and I'll make sure that they're all in there, and whichever email contact addresses you want for yourselves as well. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Guten.
Perfect. Right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. So what has the journey been like so far for you guys? I mean, obviously we've gone through quite a long journey from almost April last year to where we're almost a year into this program itself. As some of you know, we started our coach recruitment process around this period of time, and collectively through the summer started to get down to this final group that we have here today. And it's been a long but really, really fantastic sort of journey as we go through. I'm really, really excited to have all of you participate in this program, namely because the fact that there's so much dynamics and variety of experience, expertise in here. I know Jochen's already sent some questions in about coaching, which I'm going to answer very, very shortly as well. But essentially what I wanted to do first is bring you guys up to speed with what's been going on since this process of getting you guys recruited. So once you passed and you're into the final 40, as you know, you all undertook the GC Index accreditation. For those of you who weren't already accredited to the GC Index profile itself, it's a wonderful tool. It's something that's really, really pragmatic yet progressive. And it's something that we've been educating the students into as well as we've been going along. Again, I'll come into a little bit more detail of how we've done that. From there, we then transitioned you to a certification process with us, which we had the 2 or 3 seminars where you were learning more about using the GC Index, thinking about coaching environments, and then obviously looking at how to sort of conduct group sessions. And we'll be talking a little bit about that as well in a little way of time. After the kickoff in Barcelona in November and running towards the end of this year, we started as in a team, Iris, Marlush and myself, along with Nathan, who can't be on the call today. We start to group out all the students, understand who the final sort of lists of and which master programs they're coming from. As Marlush identified already, 258 students are on this program, and I had the very wonderful task of meeting each and every one of them. And that part was very important. So on the process from January, beginning of January, right the way through to almost now, we're just coming to the final number of students that need to come through the onboarding. In fact, after this webinar, I've got a series of them to actually get through already. But the process of the onboarding was to very much do 2 or 3 significant things. Number one, we wanted to be able to get some background and context on each and every student. I think it's really important that we understand each of our students. So we asked them specific questions, specifically things like, what they did in their bachelor's, if they had any specializations, work experience, including internships, what have they carried out? No matter if it was for 1 week or for a year or 3 years, whatever it was nothing insignificant at this process, because it allows us to understand what practical experiences that they've had. Then the questions started to become a little bit tougher for them. So the third question was very much around what they'd like to do after they finish their master program. Do some of them want to go on to become PhD candidates? Do they want to get into industry? And that's a really tough question for quite a lot of them to answer, because they're still very unsure. So we still try to deliberate some information out of them, by even asking them perhaps what they don't want to go into. And from there, you slowly start to learn a little bit more. Some want to go and work in a startup, others want to go to a large firm, some want to go and work on offshore, others, so we start to get a little bit more of a picture of where they want to go on to. Others are thinking about working for a couple of years, then doing their PhD. Some are thinking about going back to their native countries almost instantly. So what it does is it gets the students to start thinking about their futures almost instantly. The last question that I asked them was very much around their own understanding of their personal development requirements. So obviously this platform has been set up to provide personal and professional development, helping them with particular areas of their soft skills that will enable them to get into different sort of areas and segments. So again, this is quite a tough question for the students to answer, because it's very much a self-analysis question. So, but every student, I'm really pleased to date, every student has given it a try. They've said, I want to learn more about my communication skills, presenting skills. I want to learn how to lead a team. I've never done this, and this is what I want to do. And this allows us to get a little bit more context towards the coaching goals. So the first part of the onboarding consultation was very much an interview of them. We then go down and we agree principally with the student what we call coaching goals. Now, this doesn't mean that they are the be-all and end-all of the whole system. So you don't take those as verbatim. What I suggest here is coaching goals are your framework to what you're looking at. And the reason why these are quite important, guys, is because they've been agreed and they've actually come from the student. These aren't things that we have said, I think you better learn how to negotiate more or present better. This is something where the student's saying, this is what I want to work on. The most effective programs are those that are driven by the coachee or the mentee rather than the coach or the mentor. because it means that they have interest in it and they're going to participate more into it. From there, what we did is we then took them through their GC index. So as you'll appreciate, I know some of you are quite new to it, and you may be thinking, gosh, I'm going to be stuck into the deep end of not, working with students and having to interpret their scores and be able to work with them. So I undertook a lot of that process for you guys. I've gone in, I've sat down with them, I've explained their profile to them, we've looked at the scores, I've explained where the tendencies and the areas of proclivities are, why particular scores are in a particular way. And again, some of the stuff that Marlush, Iris and myself have been sharing in terms of feedback is a lot of them are like now in line with their profiles. They understand what the profile means, what it looks like. Some of them find it quite scary how accurate I was with the descriptions of their tendencies, behaviors, and their proclivities. Now at this stage, we then start to move them towards the coaches. So think about all this information that's now sort of come from a top-down basis. We've interviewed them for their areas of interest and their backgrounds and where their core sort of requirements would be. We've agreed with them principal coaching goals. We've now taken them through the process of understanding their GC index profile, which they then get access to after the call. And from that basis there, we then start looking at coaches. Now, as I've explained to all of you during the coach recruitment phase and running up through, we've created 2 or 3 different models. We had what we call a consistency model and a diversity model. And the diversity model is where you have more than one coach working with the students. There are 2 key things that I've picked up which is kind of running through the whole process with every student. 2 themes. One is that there's an area of strengths finding that they need to do, and the other side of this is how they move forward personally in areas of pursuit. Now, depending on the different genres of themes of where they want to go, I've then started to select different coaches to work with them. On average, most students will have 2 coaches. That means that you'll be doing 2 sessions with each of the students on that mix. Now, some of them run on a consistency model of 2 sessions plus 2 sessions. So you do 2 and another coach do 2. Others are intertwined. So it will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Because we have a few that are in the space that are interested in entrepreneurship, and they need to understand more about business modeling, but they also need to look at how they work on their personal skill set. So I want them to I've engineered their program in a way which keeps it dynamic and fresh for them. And everything I've done to date with each of the students has been done with agreement with them. It's very important that we have them signed in and agreed to into this program. Otherwise, they will, if they lose interest or if they're not opted into it, it won't work as effectively as I want it to. So you may find that when you start to receive your dashboards that there's a high number of students, but it doesn't mean that your number of sessions have increased as well. So the student ratio may have gone up, but you're still doing the same amount of sessions as if you were to just do consistent students in line anyway. The other reason to why I've also done that is, if you may recall, one of the parts of the process that we took you through when we recruited you in is to ask you where your areas of interest are in coaching, where you feel most passionate. Some of you talked about career enhancement, others talked about burnout, some talked about how to transition your academics into professional industry, some talked about networking. You gave me a plethora of different areas and approaches that I could bring in, and I felt it's very important for me to try and also match the students as closely as I could to the areas that you're most interested in. This is why what we've got quite a complex matrix of different students working with different coaches at different times. So some of you are going to have maybe with some students you may only have one particular session, but we know that what we've designed with the student is to say that this is what you're going to be working on with this particular person. So the students are almost primed and geared up to the next stage, which is at that stage, which is once we create the matches, we create access to their Google Drive files for them so they can start reviewing their GC index profile. I cannot tell you how much these students wanted to look at the profiles after this. The anticipation, considering they took them last year, to now, because in some cases it takes us up to 24 hours to get the Google Drive access sorted for them. And I was receiving emails from students saying, I still don't have my GC index profile. I'm like, okay, calm down. We'll get it sorted for you. So you've got, what I want to share with you here, guys, is you've got a very excited, a very progressive bunch of people that want to do this program. And that's where we've got them up to. We haven't pumped them up with inspiration. We've just produced a methodical process that gets them engaged into the program. And I think engagement is a very important word to use at this stage. Just bear with me 1 second. I know that there's a comment that's just come in. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I think, can you hear me now, Hannah? Yeah, okay, that's fine. She's muted. I think you're muted, Hannah, but don't worry, it's okay. Can you still hear me though? Perfect, brilliant. Okay, apologies about that. So where are we at this stage? We're coming very close to now finishing up. As Marlush intimated, from 258, we currently have 3 or 4 remaining students who just are yet to book their consultations, but we just need to identify that. I mean, being near on 100% in terms of its conversion has been an excellent result to this. Everyone's participated through on time. So your students are very professional in their manner and their decree. They've been also encouraged to be more directional with you. So you guys are now in the process of being connected to your students. So my team in Saran is now starting to connect you all, introduce you, and we're giving the students and you as coaches the opportunity to just do a little bit of acquaintance and get to know one another. You don't need to go out there and set out the whole world of fine exactly what you're going to do right the way through the program, but this is the opportunity where I'm telling the students, move a step forward, because they've seen your profiles, they've studied and reviewed your profiles with me, and we've agreed that these are the best coaches for you on the program. And they've, by that agreement, we've said, right now, once you're introduced to them, take your time, take your initiative now to maybe ask a little bit more questions or about the experience or the understanding of the coach, but also to position the kind of things that you want to work with them on. So even during this period now, as we run into March, some of the students may come forward, some of them may not. Now, even if they don't, it's, as I said to you guys before, when we get into coaching, one of the first things that you must do is have a conversation. Start with a conversation. Don't just lead straight into a process where you're trying to coach them. You will learn so much more quicker about them during that kind of that process. Just literally looking at their profile, their GC index profile, and within the first 5 minutes, you'll be able to understand where they have some of their shortfallings, where they actually are really interested. Have the conversation, because when I had my conversation, I found so much information out of them. So essentially, that's the process so far. What's going to happen now is towards the end of this month, well, in the next week, all the dashboards are going to be set up. So you'll know that each of you now have a coaching dashboard. You have the student names, their details, and which sessions you're doing for them specifically. All dashboards will be set up, and the 258 students are then going to be randomized into their groups for the group sessions. We have just gone through, it's taking us a little bit longer than anticipated, purely because we've gone that higher level of making sure that we've got an even balance of all different proclivities into each group. So it's not just okay, we're going to pick the top 5, the middle 5, and the bottom 7. We've actually gone through and engineered this in a way where you're going to have a mix of every single proclivity in that group at that time. And those group sessions are very much, as I say, you can run them as 2 45-minute tight mastermind sessions. It's about engagement. It's around getting a lot more peer-to-peer engagement. There are so many students that have demonstrated a desire of being able to express their views and opinions or sell themselves a lot better to a certain extent. So communications is one of, I think it comes up in the top two of the requirements of improvement, or how they want, where students want to develop themselves in. So these mastermind groups are really good opportunities for them to be able to lift up the level of engagement and communication that they do. So what's going to happen from here is, once the dashboards are completed, we'll be assigning the groups, and we'll be then giving you a group number. And then according to that group number, we will then produce for you, each of you, a small little dashboard again, which will have which students you have, and we're gonna put their proclivity scores in for you, so you can see what they are. So you don't, because you may not be, some of the students you may not be aware of, obviously, because you're not coaching them, etc. So we're going to give you a little bit of a dashboarding to give you a profile of what that group looks like. Okay. Zanel's like, I've been connecting with some of the students successfully, but some not yet, even after sending introductory. Any advice on how to reach them? Yeah, don't worry. I'll come to that again in a second as well. That's a good question to raise there. So Zanel just asked that. He's trying to introduce, he's trying to connect with some of the students, some come back, others haven't. Is there any other sort of tips on how to get them engaged? I'll come to that in a second. So as the dashboards are all completed, and then the groups have all been done, what's going to happen with us is we are going to then slip into the back stream, so that we have two sets of communication channels. We have one for you guys, which is the InnoEnergy email that you guys use already. The students have their own line of connection, which they can come into us directly on. And we're going to start to play the support mechanism behind the scenes. To add to this, I'm going to now, from March, I'm going to add up a series of dates with clinics, which I'll be running online like this on Zoom, where you can drop in if you want to. If you've got something that you're unsure of, if you want to share some sort of information about a profile which you want a little bit more interpretation on, if you're having, if you've had certain experiences with students which you're not particularly sure about, or you want to share an experience that's worked really well, these clinics are going to be available for you to come in and out. They'll all be recorded. So if you can't hit them, they'll all, or you can't make them, you can always go back and watch them. So to continue supporting you guys through the process, we're going to have a series of these small clinics. They won't be that long. They'll be like 20 to 30 minute in duration. But it's just something that's there consistently for you as a resource. So from our side, that's what we're going to be going into from there. So one of the first questions, and I'll come back to you in a second, Zanel, is Jochen. Jochen raised some questions where he said about coaching virtually versus personally, and a little bit more information about the Zoom group sessions, how to handle them, or what to be handling within those kind of perspectives. So look, for those of you that perhaps have had experience in coaching on a one-to-one level, yes, sometimes you can lose the energy, I guess, when you're on a virtual perspective. But I think it's really down to your power of conversation. It's really down to how you converse and interact. Don't treat it as a coaching session. Treat it as if you're having a conversation. Be more provocative of understanding the other person, asking them more questions, being more converse. Think as if it's two people having a virtual cup of coffee, as opposed to having this real serious intensity of coaching. What does happen, it fell into me accidentally with a number of the students. As I was going through the process of having the conversation, I also went into coaching mode, and I was giving them advice. You should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be coaching you. But they're like, it comes from the conversation. Now, going virtually, you can still get energy. I mean, whether you're using your videos or not, I didn't really use my videos that often with any of the students. We didn't really have videos on, purely because we were sharing screen and going through particular stuff. But it does go down to conversation. I think you will find when you start conversing with them, build that relationship with them very quickly on the fact that you're here to help, and they already know that you're there to support them from that perspective. But listening to them is one of the biggest things that you can do. If you ask them more questions and listen to them, you'll find that they'll get into conversation quite effectively with you. I mean, if I can start a conversation with 258 strangers and, over the last 6 to 8 weeks, within sort of 10 or 15 minutes, I think you guys will be absolutely fine. But if you do come across any issues, or if you feel that you're not entirely comfortable or you're not getting yourself best across, just hit me up with an email, come to me directly, or, come through the Inner Energy email to me specifically, and I'll be here to help you through that process. That's not a problem at all. I almost feel like now I've spoken to all of these, they're my little babies now. So I've got to look after them as much as I've got to look after you guys. So have that put into place. Zanel, and then I'll come back to group sessions in a second, Jochen. Zanel, the question about the introductory emails and stuff. Students are receiving a series of communications from us this week as well. Now, you must understand that some of them are just finishing, they've either just been finishing their exams, or they're going through certain periods of tests. So some of them are actually taking a little bit longer to get back in touch compared to others. Having said that, we're encouraging. There's a series of 4 emails going out next week to them, because we've got more instructions to go to them now. The final instructions of the program, their administrational requirements, or so the forms and reports and the impact passports and stuff that they're going to be filling. I'm going to be taking them through all of that, and also there is going to be reminders on the fact that they need to now start liaising with you guys to start setting up their appropriate sessions. They're going to be given a schedule by month, and then obviously what we want you guys to do is interact with them and arrange a suitable time and date in that month to have the session with them. As I say, some of them are being quite they have been quite proactive. I've had certain people cancel or have to reschedule their booking, their appointments, because they've had unscheduled lectures, or they're now, some of them being traveling to something else. So there are going to be certain hiccups and bumps down the road to a certain extent, but they will communicate. We will keep on there. So again, the only thing that I can suggest to you is that if you're not getting a response from any particular students, come back to us directly, and we will help you with that as well. It's it's an all hands on deck type of approach here. We don't just want to leave too soon. I have first session next Friday. Is this too soon, Judith? Wow. Okay, Judith's already booked up next week. That's okay. Next Friday. No, it's as long as the effectively, if it's set up in March, away you go. So we're only sending this introduction information out to them. We're leaking it to them or dripping it to them in time, because we want it as close to the time of the work that they're doing. Because if I sent it out earlier this year, half the students would have forgotten about what I'm going to tell them to do in March. So that's why we've purposely pushed it to the last week before we send this information. But if you are coaches, if you are already out there booking your sessions in for March, remember your one-to-ones are going to be in March. In April, they're going to be we're going to be doing group sessions. Then back in May, you'll be your next sets of one-to-one sessions. Go ahead and book them. In fact, I've encouraged the students to book even the ones that are way into the future. It's better to have a date in the future set, which you can then adjust, than actually try and say, oh, we're going to wait and do that later on. So so I'm encouraging them to be a little bit sort of progressive in that specific way. Again, as coaches, if you feel, because you guys, it's quite important that, we have to understand that you're fitting this around the work that you do outside of all of this as well. So if it helps you to book your future dates in right now, just as a part of a planning, do it, get it done. And you can always go back and change those effectively. As I say, if there is any questions that come up with the fact that people aren't responding to you, come back to us immediately. Don't feel you're going to wait, because we can help you get in touch with that person a lot quicker. And 99.9% of the time, there is some proper reason to why they haven't been able to get in touch with you. They are really courteous with me. They send me a reschedule note, and they tell me why they have to reschedule. So it's not like they just forget and don't do anything about it. So I do really like this group. We're gonna have some really good fun with them. So looking at the next stage. So as I say, we'll give you your dashboards, we'll give you your coach, your group session, your group numbers, so you'll know which groups you are, and we'll give you a profile of the people in the group. As I say, one of the things that we can do within Mastermind is taking particular situations. So you've got to, the whole purpose of Mastermind is for everyone to equally share their experiences in and collectively work together to solve answers, to solve problems or challenges. And what we wanted to be able to do is create a balance of not just have experts coming in, working with them on a one-to-one level to build up, but they've got to be able to practice and unearth how they are contributing towards the general consensus of challenges. When they go into industry, whilst they may work in isolation in particular areas, there are always going to be levels of contribution. There's always going to be team meetings that they've got to get into. And if they don't have capacity and practice of being able to voice their opinions, express their views, or present because they feel a bit too timid, then they could sort of lose their way in what they're doing within that kind of role of function. So the whole purpose behind the group sessions is very much to allow not just the loudest voice to speak, but also to unearth those that perhaps have great ideas, great contributions, great things that they can make an impact. It doesn't mean that they've got to have the best ideas, but everyone can make a game-changing contribution in that respect. And this part of it is, like I say, you can run them as small, tight 45-minute sessions and do 2 of them. So you could do one at the beginning of the month, one towards the end of the month, with the groups themselves. Pick a typical topic within, so it could be around presentation, it could be around negotiating, it could be around how do you approach team dynamics? It could be more about leadership. Now, what you're doing here as a facilitator is you're picking the topic, and then you're actually getting people around the group, because your groups are a lot tighter now. We're not going to have sort of 10 people in a group. You're going to have more 6 or 7 people in the group. So what we could do is you can go around and say, right, what's your experience of leadership to each of them? And then you get each of them to start asking questions. So you're facilitating a conversation between the 6 or 7 people in that room, on that virtual room. But what you're actually doing at the end of this is you're getting them to start engaging with each other in a way that they normally wouldn't engage. You see, a lot of people are like, okay, I'll wait till everyone else has spoken. And then if someone hasn't said this, I may say this. 99% of the time, the person that sits back and says, I'll wait and listen to everyone, will never speak up. It's an obvious fact, 99% of the time. So sometimes they need a little bit of provocation. And I think this facilitation does that. I mean, as I say, when you ask them interesting questions or you flip it in a particular way. Now, one of the things that I have done as a technique, maybe you can use this or you don't have to use this, is when I do masterminds, what I do is I put everyone in the group. I'll say, okay, well, this is the topical challenge we're going to talk about. Now, what you're going to do is everyone's going to get a chance to ask one question, but they can't repeat the same question. And what that does is it encourages active listening. They have to be really active. So unfortunately, the last person in the circle is normally the person that's got the hardest thing. So you start on, to your left, and then you keep going along to your left. And then after everyone has asked a question, they then get 2 minutes to give their own advice, back in. So they're listening to everything that's being asked, and then they get to propose advice of how to do something for 2 or 3 minutes all the way through. And then you can pick another question or another challenge, and so on and so forth. What those 2 things do by initiating that active listening, it means it gets them thinking harder and deeper than just surface questions, which is very, very important for people of this age and experience. And the second thing it does is it allows them to bring something up and says, wow, I heard that point from that question, and I've got an experience on this that I think I want to share. And this is where we raise the confidence and the competence level of the students having your group, okay? So, so Jochen says, are the group sessions on any particular subjects? So hopefully I've answered that question. No, not specifically, but the topics that you pick need to be related around, it needs to be related around careers, the kind of the type of environments that people will find themselves in when it comes to particular elements of career. So thinking about teamwork, thinking about intercultural communications, thinking about working with internal, external stakeholders, think about when they're working in isolation to bigger groups, about hitting targets, about employer expectations, about employee conflict. Conflict management is a great one. I asked that question quite a lot to a lot of the students about how they handle conflict management based on their profiles. So it's got to, you're picking up all the little behaviors and tendencies within not just the workplace, but within the culture of a career. And we want to topically talk to them about that. And what we want is, we don't want to talk at them. We just want to facilitate the conversation between them. Because the more, you will find that there is going to be people in the groups that have, you want to rear it out of them. What did you do in your internship? Some of you have done placements for 6 or 9 months. You know, did you experience any of these kind of things? And just by bringing those little stories out, it means that we can bring up the level of expertise and experience that they have in the group. Okay. Not all coaches will lead the mastermind sessions, right? Is that Marlish? Yeah, Marlish. It's actually up to call. I mean, I know that we've got an allocation for we can put one group for every coach if we wanted to. You have the opportunity to opt out of doing mastermind sessions if you don't want to do them, and we'll assign them to other coaches. But I think we could get, we can get the majority of coaches to do it. I think it's something that's worth doing through, but it's an option by you. As I said, during the process of the coach recruitment, we have tried to put as much flexibility into the process for you. I know some of you will have time commitments during parts of the year, and we've got to think about your student coaching as well at the same time, the one-to-one stuff. So if you do feel after this process, and once the group allocation is happening, that you would prefer to step away from doing group monitoring or moderating, just let me know. We'll make arrangements to make sure that the sessions are covered through from there. But I am going to make I'm going to make the group small on purpose, because it makes it easier to manage, and it keeps things quite nice and tight. The bigger the groups become, sometimes it's harder to sort of see things through. Okay. So Zoom group sessions here, coaching virtually versus personally. As I say, for those of you that have experience of doing this virtually, I mean, this is like a bit of a virtual coaching session. You can bring a lot of energy to it, but it all starts with the conversation. I've said this time and time over again, have conversations with people. It's so, so important. Okay, I'm going to move. I know that we're running out of time here. In fact, we've gone 5 minutes over. Last thing that I've got to say on this part here is reporting. So as you'll know, you're all getting introduced not only to your students, but you're getting access to the Google Drive files for those students, so you can see their GC index reports and you can see their participation reports. There is a subfolder within each one of these student files called Coach Reports, and within there, we're going to put your templates in. You only ever have to go into the corresponding month. Don't worry if it doesn't look like it's all there just yet. It will all be there before you start your program. And what you do is you just open up the month. So if it was for March, Coach Report March 2018, you just open up the month, fill out the details, and just save it. You don't have to hold any templates anywhere. Everything will be held into the file itself. If any one of you have any difficulties getting through on or access, or you find that you can't edit it for any reason, you can let us know straight away at innoenergy@enterpriselab.co.uk. That email address is monitored nearly almost 18 hours a day in that respect. So even if you do it quite late, someone will get back in and make sure they'll look at the tech side of it for you. Okay. From here, as I say, just repeat. Dashboards are coming out. Your group sessions will be allocated within the next 3 or 4 days. We've got a series of communications going out to students. Please continue to engage with your students. See if get your sessions booked up as you're going along. Look at your coaching goals or what you want to discuss with them. Don't forget to have conversations with them right from the beginning. Don't forget there's a very quick report to complete at the end of each session. And we're going to be here every 2 weeks on a clinic throughout the whole of the program to help anyone, or if they want to drop in and have a little natter with us. I'll be sitting here drinking copious amounts of tea, waiting for you guys, lovely people, to come and speak to me. Okay. Have you a recording of a group session? I think it would help you visualize better with the work. Okay, I'll get you something. I don't have one with these students per se, but I do have something that I've done previously with others. So I'll get that as a reference and a resource tool. That absolutely fine. Does anyone have any questions? I know some of you may need to go because I've only got like only booked you out for an hour or so.
Keta, I just sent the email, but I didn't hear your response. Just to clarify, the students have seen the GC index report and then been debriefed, so we don't have to go through that, right?
No, they've all been taken through part of the onboarding consultation. We have an hour with them, and in that hour, I've done the interview with them. So with the participant onboarded form that you'll see in the reports function where the GC index profile is for each of the students. And then we spend a long part of that hour going through the GC index profile with them. So I've literally done the preload for you. I've taken them through, I've taught them how to interpret the scores. I've then helped them understand what all the scores mean, what it means to them, and how it's reflected in their behaviors and tendencies. So they're very much aligned and understanding how that works.
So they come up with, based on that report, they came up with sort of things they want to be coached on.
That's right. So we gave them that. So we asked the question at first, what areas do you want to work on? Then we look at the profile. Then we start to rematch, are these things that you want to be working on? So, and then, so everything's been driven and agreed with them. It's never been a situation where we said, no, look, I think you just do this. And it's not just like, oh yes, they've been very meticulous about saying, yeah, this is where I really feel I need help. So the coaching goals are very much driven by what they've said, and it's a mixed amalgamation of seeing their GCNS profile. As I say, the most important thing for me at that point is that, because it's almost like a baton handover to you guys, is to make sure that the students understood how to interpret the reports and understood what their personal scores meant. And how it's going to be effectively used. So I've tried to do as much of that loading up. Again, they have the opportunity, if they have any questions about their profiles, to come back to us or to you guys. And at the same time, if you feel like there is a mismatch there, always come back to us and ask us. Only remaining question is on invoicing. What is the process? It's the best question ever. Let's leave to the last. So I know some of you are going to be invoicing personally. Some of you are going to be coming through from your own sort of companies and stuff. If you don't have an invoice template, don't worry. We've set one up for you, and Sarah will issue it to you as a part of the pack. That will have all of our information in there. Just make sure that if you are invoicing me from Europe, I need your IBAN numbers on there. So I'll put all the request of what information I need from you. I'll send another communication out just on the areas of invoicing. Invoicing sits on, as I say, it's on a each month system. So as you complete the exercise, you get to the end of the month. So end of March, you'll invoice in for all of the March sessions that you've done. And if you're doing group sessions in April, you'll bill in for those. So each one of them is done on the monthly rotation, and then they sit on a up to 30-day sequence. So that means that you send in your invoices after you've completed your work for each of the months. Okay. Again, I'll put that information in. I'll re-emphasize the fees, and I'll re-emphasize the process in the email that I'll put out. If there is anyone that I'll send you all a copy of the invoice template. So if you need to use it, you can use it. If you don't need it, well, at least you've got it. That's all. Keep it. But just make sure, it's very important that we have your IBAN numbers. Otherwise, we won't be able to do your transfers to your accounts. Okay, right. Any other questions at this stage? Now, look, even if because I know there's a number of people that haven't come up on this. So if you guys, for those of you who are not on this webinar that you're watching this right now, please, if you have any questions, send them to me as ASAP. I am going to create a lot of FAQs. If any of you have anything specifically, personally, or you just want to approach me, one-on-one, feel free to do that anytime from now, right the way through during the program itself. But look, we're almost there. We're almost at the start line. We're as I said, we're priming up these students as much as we can to get them ready for you. I know that they are excited about doing this program. Just leaves me to say, have a great time through an experience through this. There's a lot of learning that we're going to take from this as well. If there are any comments that you get back about the coaching from your students, take note of them, send them to us, because it would be really valuable to feed that back to Marlush and the team at InnoEnergy as well. I think even during the process, it'll be very, very valuable. So don't go out hunting for testimonials, but if they do come back and suggest any experiences, let us know, because that will give us a good indicator of where we're going. Perfect.
Thank you. Good luck all.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.